I am Martin Esiedu. At the top of our bulletin this afternoon, the burial of the slain soldier who led to the invasion and assault of some residents of Ashaiman by armed military personnel is currently underway. We will update you in a jiffy regarding that. Meanwhile, some minority MPs in Parliament welcomed the decision by the party to suspend campaigns in constituencies with sitting NDC MPs. And on the international front, Nigeria's Electoral Commission postpones election for state governors and local assemblies by 1 week. Let's settle for the details of our stories now, and you can also get interactive with us. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts on the many stories we have for you this afternoon. We're starting from issues regarding the development in Ashaiman in the last few days. Some residents who were assaulted by military personnel in Ashaiman have demanded the release of their colleagues who are still in custody being held by the military. Addressing the media in Ashaiman a few minutes ago, a convener and spokesperson for the Ashaiman Lives Matter, Emmanuel Kumade, also called for victims to be compensated, especially those who were assaulted.
We are saying loud and clear that we have suffered enough, and enough is enough. If citizens cannot sleep peacefully in their home, where else should they find peace in a democratic country like Ghana? We are therefore, as a matter of urgency, one, calling on the president to order the immediate release of all residents of Ashaiman that the soldiers are illegally keeping in their custody. Two, calling on the president to immediately set up a committee to investigate the criminal acts of the soldiers and the culprits punished. Three, calling on the president to direct the Minister of Defense to pay all the damaged properties of the Ashaiman residents caused by the soldiers. Four, pay adequate compensation to all victims of the military brutalization. Five, provide street lights in all communities in Ashaiman, since darkness was a contributing factor for the murder of the soldier because the incident happened in a dark place. Residents of Ashaiman are also citizens of Ghana and not spectators. Ashaiman Lives Matter. As our national anthem encourages every citizen to be bold to fight and resist oppressors' rule, we pledge to do exactly that. We demand for justice, and we demand it now.
Let's observe 1 minute.
And so that's a press that ended a few minutes ago by residents of Ashaiman, many of them who were brutalized by the military. In a related development, though, the soldier who died and on the back of his death leading to the brutality is being laid to rest. My colleague Godwin Asedeba has been with the family right from the 37 military hospital where he was moved from. And he's joining us shortly for a quick update on what's happening at the moment. And on your screens now are live images we are getting from the cemetery where the soldier is being laid to rest. You can see that his colleagues in nose mask marching with the body, led by an imam to where the burial site is. So Godwin, I'm sure you are there. What's going on?
Being accompanied by the military personnel. We are currently heading towards the graveyard, to the grave that has been dug where his remains will be buried, where we will finally pay our last respect to him. So right on your cameras you can see about 6 of the military personnel holding the deceased body wrapped in the Ghana flag. So what you're seeing is a march past by the military team respectfully done. You can clearly see that members of the family here are gathered with sadness, sorrows, and tears in their eyes because they are still struggling to come to terms with the fact that their beloved 21-year-old, vibrant young soldier who was serving somewhere in Sunyani, who fell sick suddenly and came to the capital to have a test, but was attacked somewhere around Ashaiman and later lost his life. We were told by the members of the family yesterday at the 37 Military Hospital that the police team was conducting an autopsy on the deceased body. A member of the family, who happens to be an uncle, Mr. Rahman, indicated that he personally saw cuts on the deceased body, and currently investigations are underway, but the body is being taken now to a grave that has been dug at the Bema Camp Military Cemetery, where a group of Muslims will be having a prayer ceremony before they finally lay the deceased body to rest.
The rare footage, I watch XYZ, 20 people on the
Right, so right at where you are, the slain soldier will be laid to rest. The Imam is also going to be saying a few prayers before the body is put into the pit.
Tomorrow, that has arrived here at the cemetery. The deceased was murdered on March 4, 2023 in the wee hours of Saturday dawn, when his lifeless body was found lying helplessly in a pool of blood in the Ashaiman premises. And if you have been following the news, you can clearly tell that this sparked some sort of chaos in the Ashaiman vicinity, where a group of military personnel stormed there and attacked people, whether innocent or not. Any person who was found around the vicinity at that point that the military stormed the area, they were being brutalized. But currently, the military personnel who have carried the deceased remains here, unwrapping the Ghana flag that was used to cover the deceased body, gently and respectfully done. This is a way of paying their last respect to one of their very own who died a mysterious and a challenging death, if I should say. The deceased remains has been covered with a pure white cloth, lying down right here beside the grave that has been dug, where the deceased remains somewhere about maybe in the next 5 minutes will be put into the graveyard. I can spot a number of 3 Muslim people, the elderly, who organized a prayer ceremony earlier at the 37 Military Hospital Mosque. After that short prayer ceremony, a convoy drove all the way to the military cemetery here at Bema Camp, and they are about to do their own thing by performing a prayer before the remains will be descended or taken down gently into the grave that has been dug. So now a prayer is about to be said to the deceased remains. the body is being descended gently down the grave that has been dug here at the Bema Camp Military Cemetery. I can see the people who are down the grave trying to unwrap a white cloth that is being used to wrap the body before it is being put down there before the burial processes can start. So right here at the Bema Camp Cemetery, the white cloth has been taken off. So prayers are currently ongoing by the Muslims here together with some colleagues to finally pay the last respect to him.
People to demand. And so live on your screens, we're just bringing you live visuals of the final resting place of the slain soldier who died a few days ago, which led to the military taking the law into their own hands and brutalizing people within Ashaiman. Now, clearly, at this very ceremony, many are sad and very solemn. You could tell that some old students of his former school are also there to pay their last respect as he is laid to rest. And definitely these are some residents also from Ashaiman, because the soldier, we are told, was also living in Ashaiman. So it is his own friends and family who have come to this final resting place to bid farewell to him. And Godwin Asideba, my colleague who's been following this particular story keenly, was also updating us on where the family moved from. The body was picked from the 37 Military Hospital and followed through the procession to the cemetery where he will be laid to rest. So yeah, that's Godwin on your screens now, also running a commentary of what's happening.
Sheriff Imoro has finally been put into the grave. A prayer was said to the deceased body to bid farewell to him. The white cloth that was used to wrap the deceased body here have all been taken off. We have been told to move away from that particular premises, because after the white cloth is being taken off, it wouldn't be okay for us to see it because it's against their traditions. But what is currently ongoing are some plastic papers and woods that I can spot from where I am that is being used to cover the body after it has been put into the grave peacefully. We can now see some neem tree leaves. If the camera, okay, so the camera cannot pan to that particular side, but we can now see some neem tree leaves that are being put into the graveyard before the sun can finally be put on top. And we have been told that this is a tradition that has been followed respectfully by the Muslim community in Ashaiman and most of the leaders who came all the way from the 37 Military Hospital Mosque all the way to the Bema Camp Military Cemetery here. So you can clearly see a number of soldiers here still standing in their parade, trying to pay their last respect to their colleague, 21-year-old Sheriff Imoro, who was murdered and allegedly murdered on Saturday, March 4, 2023 in Ashaiman. We understand that the police may be proceeding with investigation soon. After the family spoke to me, and they indicated that the police were at the 37 mortuary to take pictures of the wounds of the deceased before they can proceed with investigations. An uncle of the deceased, Abdul Rahman, who spoke to me yesterday, indicated that he could clearly see knife cuts on the left arm of the deceased body, and he also mentioned that when he was brought out, there was a knife somewhere around the deceased body, which was taken away by the police officials who came around to take the pictures of the deceased body. So this is what is happening here currently at the Bema Camp Cemetery. Martin, if you're listening to me, this particular premises is actually full of sadness, tears and sorrows from both colleagues, family members and friends of the deceased.
Right, thank you very much, Godwin Asediba, for that quick update from the burial grounds of the slain soldier. So we definitely will be updating you regarding what other investigations will be undertaking and what results will be coming out of that autopsy. But may his soul rest in peace. Earlier, we also brought you the sentiments of the frustrated Ashaiman residents who were brutalized by colleagues of the slain soldier because his body was found there. They are also asking for compensation and that government should take full cost of those that are undergoing treatment. It's a very disturbing situation, but definitely we are asking and calling for calm. Subsequently, we'll try and make sure we get both sides of the story so that you, the viewer, will be the final judge. This is still Midday Live on TV3. We are shifting to our second big story having to do with issues of the State of the Nation address that was given by President Akufo-Addo and matters arising. So yesterday, when the president addressed the nation, he rejected claims that government misused funds that were intended to fight against COVID-19. The president defended the COVID expenditure during the State of the Nation address in Parliament on Wednesday. So let's listen to what exactly the president said, and we'll subject that to some analysis.
It is precisely because the economic fallout from the pandemic is so widespread and long-lasting that it is important to show clearly that the COVID-19 funds were not misused. It is critical that we do not lose the confidence of the people that a crisis that they were led to believe we were all in together was abused for personal gain. Mr. Speaker, it was government that asked for the COVID funds to be audited, and I can assure this House that nothing dishonorable was done with the COVID funds.
All right, so those are the words of President Akufo-Addo. Let's find out what Edem Senanu, who is the co-chair for the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, has to say regarding that. Mr. Senanu, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Clearly, it looks as though it is the president's word against the Auditor General's report. And as an anti-graft individual, what are your immediate thoughts on that?
Well, it's difficult to align with the president on this one. Reading through the Auditor General's report, he's at pains to describe the process that they engaged all the key spending officers. At the end, they did audit observation memorandum for each of the institutions to report and to disagree or indicate if they have justifications for the findings. They incorporated the comments by these various key spending officers and MDAs, and they published as required of them. Now, the specificity, I mean, they do it ministry by ministry, Ministry of Finance. You paid people without going through gift mix. Don't do that again. Ministry of Finance, you paid at whatever company, and you didn't withhold taxes worth 1.7 million Ghana cedis. That money must be recovered. Ministry of Health, you paid $120 million for vaccines. They only supplied $40 million. You need to recover the outstanding amounts. And then it talks about places where, let's say, National Food Buffer Stock, the invoicing suggests those over invoices to the tune of this. That money must be paid to the chest. Or Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. There are 10 transactions you paid for that have nothing to do with COVID. Clearly, therefore, there were some key spending officers who did not follow the public financial management laws and who took actions ultra various. Because if you take the issue of payments that had nothing to do with COVID, how else will you describe it? So perhaps the president is not looking at the fine details. And I worry that those who write speeches for him, whether sometimes they take their content from how not to help a nation fight corruption. Because otherwise, the president should not make such generic statements, such blanket statements, because clearly some people have not done what is right. And we should find him holding them to book, telling his people, please, these officers who didn't act in tandem with the laws of this nation should be held accountable so that the rest of us can be seen as people who are honorable and insist on doing the right thing. So I have difficulty aligning with the president's statement.
Yeah, and still on the back of that, I mean, there are those who are already saying that per the president's comment, we know that Parliament is yet to sit and have a thorough look at the report. And from what the president is saying, there are those who are already suggesting that he has then cleared any kind of charge or accusation or allegation leveled against the entire COVID process. Is that a sentiment you also share?
Yes, I think, I mean, again, this was intriguing because we had our Attorney General saying that this thing should not have published, there shall be no commentary on it till Parliament had finished its, digging into it, which, well, most of us don't agree with. But having said that, you then don't expect the president to come and pass commentary and, as it were, seem to be clearing everybody. I mean, blanket statements by politicians often get them into trouble. And I think by now, as a country, as a society, as political parties, as those who write the speeches, we should be very cautious when we begin to put such things on paper.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. Adam Senanu, co-chair Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Certainly it's a conversation many are very much interested in. We'll be updating you to see what Parliament's position also will be on the COVID spending that the president has totally disagreed with the Auditor General's report. Let's take a quick step back to our earlier story having to do with the burial of the slain soldier in Ashaiman. Godwin Asediba, my colleague, is interacting with some of the family members there. Godwin, take it over and let us know what exactly they're saying. A very sad and solemn moment we saw earlier.
Tell him that I'm already on phone with you people so that it doesn't get distracted. So can we...
Right, so what we do know is that Godwin is trying to pick the thoughts of some of the relatives, close relatives of the soldier, and you saw earlier that they had moved from the 37 military hospital where the body was earlier put at after it was picked up. Some autopsy reports, autopsy is still being done. However, the body, according to Islam religion, has been moved to be buried at the military cemetery. He was there and showed us some of the entire process, how it's going. So he's gotten a few family members and interacting with them.
Yesterday, we spoke to the uncle of the deceased, Ahmed Abdul Rahman, who indicated that the police was at the premises of the 37 military hospital yesterday to take some pictures of the deceased body. But we understand that this is a difficult time for you. But how have you been taking the incident?
We have not taken it cool at all because it's more sorrowful and so sad. And since from day 3, you've done well. We thank you. You follow us. Even yesterday, you were with us the whole day from the mortuary. Today is the final day for our son to be rested. So since morning, we're here at the military hospital. We try to finish all the documentary editing before we get the body.
We are so sorry that this had to happen to you. I understand it's very difficult, but when you spoke to me yesterday, you indicated that a team from the police came to the mortuary to take some pictures of the deceased body before an autopsy was performed. Did they speak to you about anything regarding the autopsy?
They gave me the report, or the autopsy report.
What did it say?
They said it, several stabbed with some, their hospital terms, but several stabbed with some written, and they said something's,
I understand it's a difficult time, but you can speak Chi if that is how you can fluently, express yourself. Almost said
being the terms, the terms are Chi no, almost the left side of the heart, there was something there, autopsy reports, also, but
they said there was something in the heart.
What the doctor's report is severe choked, severe stabbed, and then the left side of the abdomen is, I cannot recollect it. Yes.
But aside that, did they really talk about anything else that you can remember?
Oh no, they were suspecting. He said he was struggling with the teeth because the stab that they saw, not let's say he was struggling with the teeth. They were trying to take his phone and he refused. That's where the stab started. And that's what the investigator told us.
Okay. So did the autopsy clearly say that the knife got to his heart, just like you indicated earlier?
And that's what I said. It's a attempt, but the last stab that they stabbed, they left the knife in the body. So I don't know if it is part of the terms that they wrote in the testimony.
So what will be the next step for the family after today?
Our finally distressed. We just want fair report and then justice for Sheriff. The UTV reported some news that was very sad and bad.
That is absolutely okay, but I'll be coming back to you. So I will try to speak to Sheriff's mother and father, who you can clearly tell are full of grief and sorrow. Ifiachua, as the mother of the 21-year-old who was murdered, I spoke to her when I went to the family house, but you can clearly see that she is not in a good state, if I should say. But let me just try and engage her a little. Ma, all live with TV3, so yeah, sorry, say asem kesiwe atuwe na yaba cemetery hanumu say ye see wobano eye ding pa, but say na wafa asem no.
Nyeboko mame kula timi kula tumi kula nyeboko kula cause my dear nyina Sheriff and it does so nyina Sheriff na nke ba be hwe nua na mame say Sheriff ko nyene da so bia ba be hwe akwala na nua na mame ti say de more thing say de me fa no say de me ye cause Sheriff na ye me da so nyina ta me adwuma bia tos mako je ne na meton de bo Sheriff say de be ya be see na wa ba be hwe nua no Parents were catching me say, "Ma, I'm baby shaming me no. Mama na nhwe nua na mama, maja me nua na mobomobo."
So the mother was just telling me about how she is going to miss her third son. She made mention to me that within the community where they live, Sheriff is a very calm person who does not even have much friends around. He's always beside her all the time to assist her with every exercise that he has to do at home. And the nano ya no kasa no umaye hu say Sheriff eba akra no na wonim say oba e no kre
Oba kra say
sunyan ya oba na woti so oyare
Sunyana ofiri ba akra ne de miliawe. Bo fi akra eba ashama no na de menyawe. No fi sunyana eba ne de miliawe. O balkra me mehia no kwan. Oba wa be fi 2 times kra na ye dim komwa ya bon komwa sere. Ti de tosu mi na oba wa medu fi no.
Sure, esan say BBSC no ya tete nsem bebre but enye afei na ye BBA nsem na no but police for ana military for no enemo abon komo eden no mo keka
o mi ankasa ho de police for ni ma oni no ni papa panyi me kasa na mankasa de mankasa amo bebia ni ntimi klenti no omo ne me kasa by efa busuan for the day omo no makasa
ti ade important pa na obefe ewo oba no
ndi bebere kwa bebree kwa sɛ deɛ ɔkaa sɛ ɔbɛhwɛ onua no a te sɛ wakɔ no fe deɛ mɛfɛ ne paa mɛfɛ no because ɛdu berɛ ne ba ne nua no hia mmoa a mɛka sɛ wo Sheriff wɔ hɔ a nka ɔbɛyɛ o nti sɛ wɔni hɔ nti fe deɛ mɛfɛ no paa bebree.
Sorry, say we have to know. So we've been speaking to the deceased mother who I indicated earlier has been telling us how she's going to miss her firstborn child, and if we are to fit ourselves into her shoes, we can clearly feel her pain. But let's speak to the deceased father as well, who is seated here. That Mpacho, you're live with TV3, so yeah, my girlfriend is asking where at all, no, but saying I was if I know, I would say a seminar.
Seminar, dear. Many be Brameka. Betia sem totally. The mechanic say, Uncle Mimbo na Makuja Mabanba, Uncle. Because looking to the age, you know, imagine. Say, what won't call me na Bakweja, Enya, Gina BC, I China be obession in Yaketoa. All of a sudden, now BBC at Tuna. But then I said, me away. And BBI. But you see, way forward and say, and one say, oh no, what do you could join? Yet be a manami. Better hope say, Yankopono Hatas free. Or no better than Quanqua. A bit me raising in Yakatuam. A match nebi. On which we be never be PC. Let me a catch. Short words mean
so we just spoke to the mother and father of Sheriff Imoro. You can clearly see the elderly from the Muslim community in Ashaiman and some leaders from the Ghana Armed Forces who are gathered around the grave where he was buried. Currently we can see that the son has covered the body over there, and they are reading the Quran and also reciting some prayers before we will vacate the premises here at the Bema Camp Military Cemetery. My name is Godwin Asedeba, reporting.
All right, so that's Godwin Asedeba with the live update of the burial of Soldier Sheriff, Trooper Sheriff, I should say. May his soul continue to rest in peace. This is still Midday Live. Let's go on to some other stories. This time around, we're going to Parliament, where the members of the minority in the House have welcomed the decision by the party, that is the NDC, to suspend campaigns in constituencies with sitting MPs. Here are some of the NDC MPs speaking in Parliament.
And that time will be around 31st when we go on recess. So it is not anything that is unusual. And I feel that every member of parliament or majority of members of parliament believe that this is the right thing to do. At least give them the peace of mind to focus on it.
Will this not affect some of the MPs? Of course, whilst you're here working in the interest of the democracy, others are equally campaigning against you, using all sort of propaganda and others.
Yes.
Would that not affect a good number of you as well?
Well, majority of us are being contested. So this directive does help in a way that the party is bigger than all of us. The party says no campaign activities until that time. So if you decide to flout the party's directives and you are caught, the party will deal with it. It's as simple as
this
that.
Is to the MPs.
Yes, the constituencies that have sitting MPs.
Okay.
That it's directed at the constituencies with sitting MPs. Of course, if the seat is, a seat that we don't occupy, it means there's no MP from that constituency, so it doesn't affect them.
Okay. All right.
My problem with the directive only is enforcement. What constitutes campaign? So if an aspirant gets up and go to the house of the delegate, does that constitute campaign or not? And so how are you going to monitor that? How are you going to enforce that? Okay, if he has a secret location, he takes the aspirants to those places to go and do that. How do you monitor that? So the biggest issue will be compliance. How and enforcement, how will it be enforced?
You will have very limited time to campaign, looking at the narrative from your party. You think it's a good one?
Well, it is. I mean, some of us, to be very honest with you, particularly sitting MPs, what you have done over the past 2 years should tell. And as a matter of fact, we have a lot of businesses to do in Parliament, and numbers matter in this Parliament. So the party decision and the caucus was that we cannot afford to miss a single person. So we should always and at any point in time be in the House. We are dealing with a political party, the MPP, that is evasive. They can do anything at any point in time, and therefore we all need to stay put. So once the decision was taken that no one should absent himself or herself in Parliament, and there were some concerns raised by members of Parliament, particularly sitting members of Parliament, that if you are telling us that we should stay put, that we should always be in the House, you know, those who want to contest us are campaigning, who will be disadvantaged. So the party then took a decision that campaigning should be suspended, because if not, the members of Parliament will be disadvantaged against those who are contesting them, because you have a dual responsibility of representing the people in Parliament and also doing.
All right, so we'll let you know what all of that means, especially as we are getting into the heat of the election period. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Business is up next after this. Stay with us.
Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period na se problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me coin point no mo hwe me mogam no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kura mienu hofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nuru a ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you. Of Acrobato. Hello. Hey, ohwehwe what che. Okay. A free bra wo di end point wa dance. Am me call you no. Me Johnson sema na enkoyie e person na my emre nyina na magina sebema na me be fie for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. I'm free.
Franco Trading Enterprise is your leading mobile phone, accessories, and your electronic retail outlet. You can buy any item online at the comfort of your home from Franco Trading Enterprise. Just download the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store or App Store, or visit our website at www.francotrading.com. You can buy all brands of mobile phones, television, air conditioning, home theaters, and any other accessories. For online purchasing and more inquiries, just call us on 0501 502 670. Franco Trading Enterprise. We are still the home of quality mobile phones and accessories.
When it comes to the world of sports, what does complete mean to you?
When my team scores at the end of a 30-plus passing sequence, you know, just like Pep Guardiola style.
When someone beats the buzzer with a shot from the logo, like Steph Curry.
Dominating opponents and punching my waist to a knockout, like Africa's greatest boxer, Azuma Nelson.
Running so fast that I can afford to celebrate midway through a 100-meter race and smash the world record like Usain Bolt.
Hold up, what makes all of these sports complete is the screen. This is where you get access to all the extensive highlights, analysis, and insights.
So do join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. live on QFM 92.7 as we serve you the best sports buffet and most satisfying in the sports world. The three sports team will come together to review, preview, and analyze the latest in the sports world, here on Sports Ultras.
You are a major stakeholder in nation building. Your voice matters. Start your day with us.
We simplify the conversations,
break down the jargons and technicalities. We keep you well informed throughout the week. Start your day with us.
Knowledge is power. We put you in the know of the happenings in Ghana and the world over. The main reason why you need to start your day with us.
We give the leaders the mandate to govern our affairs. We have a responsibility to hold them to account. It begins here. Start your day with us. Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Apiampofo, William Asiedu,
and Noble Crosbyan.
Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7. Your urban lifestyle radio.
Time now for business. Parkwesi Asaris joins us in studio. Hello, Parkwesi. Good afternoon.
Hi, Martin. Good afternoon to you. And how are you doing?
Not bad at all.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. I like your smoke.
Thank you. It's a Ghana month.
Still the Ghana month.
Yeah, we're still in the Ghana month. Right, so let me bring you some latest business news stories. And government is targeting to reduce yields on treasury bills from the current 25% levels to 15% in the coming weeks, according to 3 business sources. Now, the Treasury rejected all bids in last week's auction, forcing investors to revise down their bids by some 10 percentage points. Now, reacting to this development, lead researcher at GCB Capital, Courage Boti, says the target, if achieved, will correct the anomalies while reducing pressure on fund managers.
We are in a time now where, following debt restructuring, you have bond rates for 5-year to 15-year bonds reset at anything between 8.35% all the way to, I think, just about 10 or so percent, really. And you have, even in the exceptional cases where the pensioners were considered, you had some reset at 15% and 10% for the new series, really. So that instance, and given the fact that T-bill yields were around 35%, that is actually a misaligned market, and it creates problem. No, we know that fund managers are struggling to meet demands from their client withdrawal demands because they have had to sell their bonds, giving this map to market value and DDEP. They have had to sell their bonds to meet withdrawal requests. At this
We'll be monitoring to see how that works. Elsewhere, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana will in the coming days meet to deliberate on the health of the economy. The committee is also expected to come out with a new policy rate, which is the rate at which the central bank lends to commercial banks, which also influences the rate at which you borrow from your commercial bank. Now, the central bank, which is mandated with the core responsibility of ensuring price stability, has over the last few months failed to check inflation as well as maintain a stable exchange rate regime. So what factors will the MPC be considering in coming up with a new policy rate? We caught up financial economist with the Institute for Professional Studies, Dr. Jibril Mohammed.
They should reduce the policy rate so that the lending rate can come down, and that can have a positive impact on businesses' ability to borrow and expand. Because currently we have higher unemployment rate because businesses are not able to produce well and are not able to expand, and for that matter, they cannot employ. Because the inflation that we are experiencing is not as a result of more money chasing fewer goods, but it's as a result of cost push inflation. So let's think about how we can do to reduce the policy rate so that we can have existing interest rates and also fresh loans also having a lower interest rates.
Elsewhere, 4 new mines are expected to begin operations in the next 2 years. These are the Ahafo Mine to be operated by Newmont Africa, Cardinal Resources Mine and Azuma Resources. Now, all gold mines. The 4th company, which is yet to be disclosed, will operate a lithium mine in the central region, green metals. Now, according to government, the new mines, when operationalized, will further cement Ghana's position as the leading producer of yellow metal and boost the state's earnings from mining in the face of economic downturns. But how realistic are government expectations? Benjamin Boache is the executive director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy.
Production of gold and other minerals. We keep increasing our output, but that hasn't saved the government of Ghana from maintaining a good fiscal outlook. So it tells you that the challenge we have in Ghana is not really more. It's really about how you manage the increase that you will get. Recently, we were the leading gold producer, in Africa, and that didn't save us from the fiscal mess that we are in at this point. It tells you that how we link the resource output to development has to be checked for us to be more optimal in our governance arrangement. And clearly, getting more resources on itself or alone is not enough to be able to generate the returns that we do want to see. So we have to be part of that conversation on what we do, the boom or the extra revenues that are going to result from the new mines that are coming on stream. Our output for gold has more than doubled in the past 10 years. At the same time, our fiscal difficulty has been worse than even before the huge production.
The Ghana Chamber of Agribusiness says it is not enough for government to be rolling out new policies in the agricultural sector without ensuring their proper and effective implementation. President of the Chamber, Anthony Morrison, said the sector is already saddled with a number of policies which are yet to achieve results despite challenges facing players across the value chain. He was reacting to the president's latest announcement of a policy to reduce some $10 billion spent on importation during the State of the Nation address.
Seeking to reduce importation bill and the very ingredients, the input that will enhance increase in production and yields that will enable the reduction in importation. It's been hampered by an introduction of a different, which is a 5% total levy on this sector. And this cannot be realized. Because if you are taxing an industry where you want to increase productivity, a lot of the private sector are not going to engage in it. Secondly, there is no money even in the sector now to, for instance, we are having challenges with even access to forex to even import some of these things. So if those who are doing the little that they can are being imposed, taxes are being imposed on them, how do you expect them to be viable? How do you expect them to be profitable in the engagement? And this will also affect production. This doesn't just require rhetoric. This requires pragmatic and strategic adoption of homegrown indigenous strategies that will support indigenous production. This is what we are talking about.
That's it for the very latest in the world of business. For more business news stories, do also visit our website, www.3news.com. We'll take a short break and return with the very latest in the world of sports.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the sports segment right here on Midday Live with me, Ore Kwampofo. In the past few minutes, new Black Stars coach Chris Hughton has named his first ever squad, naming 25 players for this month's Africa Cup of Nations doubleheader against Angola. There is a return for Genks Joseph Paintsil and Majid Ashimeru. Meanwhile, former Chelsea star Baba Rahman misses out on the Black Stars squad for the first time in over a year. The Black Stars would be facing Angola on March 23 and then travel 4 days later for the reverse fixture for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. And so in the short is the squad named by Chris Hughton. We'll be going deeper into the squad and what it means and what to expect from the Black Stars as they get ready for their big game. Well, we do some more here because the 3 Sports team celebrating women brought you this inspirational story of a woman who never stopped following her dreams in football. Her name is Cleopatra Nsia Nketia. A number of scientific researches show that women are naturally blessed with multitasking. One of such women making waves on Ghana's sporting scene is Cleopatra Nsia Nketia. She completed a post-call law at the Ghana School of Law in 2013 and has since been called to the US and UK bars as well as the Ghana Bar Association. Nketia is currently CEO for Boateng Ado and Nketia and Associates. However, she has never lost her passion for football, which she discovered at an early age. She's gone on to start a new club now known as Rich City Women's FC.
I actually got into football administration because I actually wanted to start playing. So Rich City came about because of passion and because I wanted to be involved in football. And when I wanted to play, I used to live in the UK. I used to play football in the UK. So when I moved back down to Ghana, I wanted to continue that pattern. And I was looking for a football club that suited who I was, and I had a job. So I wanted a club that could adjust to my time. And I realized that there was no other club around that fit my schedule. So then why not start a club?
5 years down the line, and the club has moved through the ranks to the top flight division. But the journey hasn't been an easy one.
So it was supposed to be a good time for girls who were like me, who wanted to come around and play football. And then when we opened that doors, it just evolved and grew into something bigger than what we thought. So I actually had no idea about managing a football club or what the journey was going to be like. I just thought it was going to be a once or twice a week thing. We gather, we play football, we are happy, we laugh, and we go. But then there's so many girls out there who are looking for an opportunity. There's so many girls out there who are looking to make it as a career. And I realized that, okay, we cannot take the whole hobby approach anymore. Now we need to get serious.
There are hundreds of girls out there who want to get into the football industry. On International Women's Day, here's a piece of advice.
You need to take that step. If you want to play football, you have to get into it. You have to join. You have to do what you can do. You can see they want to do football. They want to, but the will is also not there. I want to do football, but I'm not really in it. Some people are not bringing their heart into the game. They are physically there, but they're not mentally there. And it feels like they are spoiling the chance for other people. But for anybody who wants to get into football, I think that you should do it.
Cleopatra Nsia Nketia has laid the blueprint on how women can combine their passions and become successful through hard work and dedication. The aim is to see a lot more representation for women when it comes to football in Ghana a few years from now. And so let's do more here and talk about the Europa League, which takes place later today. Arsenal would be in action alongside other clubs like Manchester United. Let's just go through the fixtures quickly. Arsenal in that early kickoff against Sporting Lisbon. And then we have a match between Manchester United, who would be at home looking to put things right after the demolition at Anfield when they host Spanish side Real Betis. Just before we wrap up, news coming in concerning the Europa League is that Paul Pogba of Juventus has been dropped from the squad by Max Allegri. This time is not for an injury concern. He had to wait for a number of months to finally make his second debut for Juventus. But this time round, he's not in the squad to face Freiburg this evening due to disciplinary issues. Reports coming in from Italy is that the midfielder turned up late for yesterday's meeting and has been punished as a result. Well, that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on Midday Live. My name is Oriya Kwampofo. Up next is Entertainment with Noella.
Good afternoon. Let's do some updates in the world of entertainment. My name is Noella. Now, 2018 GMB Central Regional Representative Tewa visited some mothers at the Tete Kwashi Memorial Hospital in Mampong, Ikuapem in the Central Region. Now, this visit is part of her commitment to improve quality delivery in health through education and some donations. As part of her commitment to improve quality delivery in health, 2018 Central Regional GMB Representative Perpetual Pelabi is championing a new cause with her Perpetual Impacts Foundation. Popularly known as Tewa, the midwife, together with some health professionals over the weekend, were at the Tete Kwashi Memorial Hospital in Mampong Ikuapem in the Eastern Region. Her goal was to educate women on preterm conditions through community outreaches.
The Perpetual Impact Foundation focuses on developing sustainable programs and projects to improve quality delivery in health and education sector in Ghana. We also focus or help create an environment that gives hope to the preterm babies or babies born preterm. The day has been very beautiful. I'm very proud of myself for putting up something like this. The mothers came in their numbers. We have neonatal intensive care unit doctors. They were also with us to share with us some of the things that the mothers needs to know on breastfeeding, infection prevention, personal hygiene.
To some mothers, the event was an impactful one as they received lessons on proper ways to protect preterm babies from infections.
I have learned a whole lot, such as infection prevention, how to nurture them, how to feed them, and then I've known that a whole lot of people are dying, let's say babies, they are dying due to our ignorance or lack of education. So this foundation is helping to improve, to save the lives of our newborns, especially preterm.
What she's doing is creating awareness on the problems these babies are facing and issues in the facilities and how to manage them and all that. From the meeting we just had, she's even advocating for incubators, which is a necessity. That's what we use them nursing these babies. So she's doing a lot. And if given the support that she needs, it's going to go very far and going to help these babies.
Perpetual Impacts Foundation also donated some items to the pediatric ward of the hospital. Now to some more stories. Come May 13th, 2023, two best friends, Fred Nuama and actor John Dumelo, will be contesting in the Ayawaso West Wuogon parliamentary primaries of the National Democratic Congress. Now, many have said that it would have been better for one to step down for the other to go for the slot. Well, founder of the Ghana Movie Awards, Fred Nuama, has said he's surprised that John Dumelo backtracked on his decision to not contest. According to Fred Nuama, John Dumelo initially had no intentions to join the Ayawaso West Wuogon race. Rather, he eyed another constituency. Frankly, it's late to step down. My brother informed me and a lot of people that he was not going to contest the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency again. He gave me his blessings when I made up my mind to contest. I am surprised about his U-turn because it was evident that he was not going for the Ayawaso West Wuogon seat anymore and rather invested in Guan, Fred Nuama noted. And that'll be it for entertainment here on Midday Live. My name is Noella. Martin has more.
All right, thank you very much. Let's find out what's happening on the international front. Nigeria's Electoral Commission has postponed elections for the state governors and local assemblies by 1 week. The polls had been scheduled to take place on Saturday. They will now be held on the 18th of March. Nigeria's opposition had asked to check electoral voting machines. A court rejected their complaint, but the Electoral Commission said the legal challenge had held up preparations and the machines would not be ready in time. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, introduced the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, the BVAS, for the first time as part of new technologies to be used in this year's elections in a bid to improve transparency. But observer groups and opposition parties said huge delays in voting and failure of the machines when uploading tallies allowed for ballot disparities during the presidential election. And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for watching. Our website, 3news.com, has many more stories for you. Have a good afternoon, and as always, stay positive. I am Martin Asiedu-Date.
Assassini, airport in my Mojana, Nanum Shegu, Nadu, my
Cartel Multimedia, in collaboration with PB Entertainment, presents Boko Hawk Oyede. A married man having an affair? Guys, it was just a mistake. Oh, to hell with you and your mistake.
Please, would you like to eat now or you eat later?
I'll eat later.